Unlocking your potential. Why emotional mastery is the key to achieving your dreams. We've all heard the saying, "What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But what if the biggest obstacle to your goals isn't time, resources, or talent? What if it's your inability to manage your emotions? It sounds counterintuitive, right? Think about it. How many important decisions have you regretted making on impulse? This isn't about suppressing feelings. It's about harnessing their power. This video reveals a simple, one-minute technique to transform your life by mastering your emotional responses. If you've tried everything else, stick with me. This approach is different. Ever blown a gasket over something trivial and spent the rest of the day simmering? Or missed an incredible opportunity because fear whispered insidious doubts? Most people are far more emotionally driven than they realize, letting fleeting feelings dictate their lives. This is a recipe for disaster. Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, understood this perfectly. True strength, he argued, isn't about what you feel, but how you react. When anger, fear, or frustration trigger knee-jerk reactions, you become a puppet, controlled by your impulses. The worst part? Many believe these reactions are inevitable. That road rage, quitting after setbacks, or losing focus due to irritation are just part of life. They're not. They're symptoms of a lack of emotional control. The good news? Nobody's born with this skill. It's learned. As Hill said, "The true master feels deeply, but is not governed by what he feels." This isn't coldness, it's discernment, the ability to acknowledge feelings without being swept away by them. Identify them, observe them, then decide rationally, not reactively. Consider the impact on your finances. How often do you make impulse buys to soothe stress or compensate for frustrations? How many arguments about money become emotionally charged battles that damage relationships? It's not a lack of funds, it's an inability to manage the emotions surrounding scarcity, fear, or comparison. Hill's philosophy underscores a crucial point. Financial failure is often emotional, not technical. Science backs this up. The American Psychological Association found that 76% of people cite money as their biggest stressor. It's not the actual lack of resources, but the emotional relationship with them. Without emotional control, no external achievement is sustainable. Here's a powerful, yet simple technique. When a strong emotion hits, anger, fear, sadness, anxiety, stop for 60 seconds, just 1 minute. Breathe deeply. This isn't mysticism, it's neuroscience. Pausing activates the prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, breaking the cycle of emotional reactivity. It's like hitting the pause button on autopilot and regaining control. During those 60 seconds, affirm, "I am in charge." Gradually, your brain learns you're not a prisoner of your emotions. You're the warden. Hill's own life exemplifies this. Before Think and Grow Rich, he faced crushing poverty, harsh criticism, and countless rejections. He considered quitting, but stopped, reflected, and consciously chose to use each rejection as fuel. Not because he didn't feel the pain, but because he refused to let it control him. Consider the tragic example of Mike Tyson, a boxing legend with incredible talent and power, undone by his explosive temper. He lost titles, contracts, and his reputation because he couldn't manage his emotions. Imagine if he'd learned this 1-minute technique before reacting in crucial moments. His career might have been even more legendary. Challenge yourself. For the next 7 days, whenever a powerful emotion threatens to overwhelm you, stop, breathe. 1 minute, that's all. Observe what you're feeling. Don't suppress it, but don't react automatically. Think of it like building a muscle. It's strengthening your emotional intelligence. This seemingly small practice can alter the course of a conversation, a day, and eventually, a lifetime. By shifting from reacting to responding, you go from puppet to puppeteer, the author of your own story. This isn't empty self-help. It's emotional evolution. The difference between merely surviving and truly thriving. Why do most people abandon their dreams? It's not a lack of skill, money, or time. It's a lack of clarity. Without clear goals, any difficulty destabilizes you. Any criticism knocks you down. Any distraction pulls you off course. You become emotionally vulnerable, directionless, and your energy dissipates. A clear objective is the antidote to emotional chaos. Without it, your emotions become disorganized, making you reactive, unstable, a victim of circumstance. How many times have you started something with enthusiasm only to lose steam, doubt yourself, and give up? This is because you lack a strong emotional anchor, a clear reason to persevere when motivation wanes. And it always wanes. Clarity isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. It aligns your emotions with your actions. Harvard Business School research shows that people who clearly define their goals are up to 10 times more likely to achieve them. A clear destination focuses your mental and emotional resources. Without it, your mind wanders, drawn to distractions, doubts, and fears. Hill himself wasn't initially famous, respected, or financially secure. He barely made ends meet, but he had something rare: clarity of purpose. He struck a deal with Andrew Carnegie, one of history's wealthiest men, to study the habits of successful people and create a system everyone could use. Carnegie offered no money or structure, just the mission. Hill accepted. Why? Because he knew, with unwavering conviction, what he wanted to build. That clarity fueled his perseverance through hardship, loneliness, and disbelief. With a clear objective, even negative emotions become allies. Frustration signals you're off track, fear indicates growth, anxiety shows you care. Everything gains meaning. Without a defined destination, any emotion becomes an obstacle. You feel fear and freeze. You feel doubt and quit. You feel discouragement and give up. You become a spectator in your own life. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, was a master of this. He made over 10,000 attempts before creating a viable bulb. He never said he failed. He said, "I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." How did he maintain composure amidst such frustration? Because he knew exactly what he wanted. That vision was so powerful that no setback could extinguish it. Perhaps what you lack isn't motivation or technique, but clarity. Clarity of what you truly desire, what drives you, what's at stake. With this clear vision, your emotions obey, your mind works for you, your habits align, and even challenges gain meaning. Take 5 minutes, just 5, to write your goal in detail. Avoid vague statements like, "I want success," or "I want to be happy." Be specific. Write what you want, when you want it, why you want it, and how you'll feel when you achieve it. Visualize, imagine, feel it. Make it a ritual. Read it daily. Rewrite it if necessary. Most importantly, feel as if it's already real. This reprograms your mind and aligns your emotions with your vision. That's the power of a well-defined goal. It organizes your mind, silences doubts, and transforms chaotic emotions into focused strength. With clarity, everything changes. People notice. Opportunities arise. Decisions become easier. Procrastination loses its grip. Life ceases to be an emotional battleground and becomes a conscious creation. Emotional chaos doesn't stem from circumstances, but from a lack of direction. Define your why and your where, and even the most turbulent feelings will bend to a true purpose. Notice how some people face incredible hardship and seem to thrive, while others crumble under the same challenges, abandoning their dreams and becoming shadows of their potential. The difference isn't luck or intelligence, it's how they react emotionally to pain. Napoleon Hill called this emotional resilience, the ability to feel what you need to feel and still move forward, not with coldness, but with awareness. Life won't spare you. It will test you, hit you hard, challenge you when you're most vulnerable. You'll have two choices: sink or grow. This growth isn't magic. It comes from intentionally choosing the meaning of bad situations. Pain itself doesn't teach. What you do with it does. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lack of imagination, went bankrupt multiple times, and had projects rejected by investors who called him an unrealistic dreamer. Anyone would have given up, but he persisted, not because he didn't feel fear, shame, or frustration, but because he chose not to let those emotions control him. He transformed every setback into emotional fuel, building an empire that inspires billions. He said, "All the adversity I've faced in my life, all the troubles and obstacles have strengthened me." Emotional strength isn't built by avoiding pain, but by facing it intelligently. Pain isn't the end. It's an invitation to look inward, discover who you are, and decide who you'll become. Studies from the University of North Carolina show that emotionally resilient people have greater overall well-being, are more effective at work, and have healthier relationships. It's not a gift, it's a skill, practice, training. You build resilience like a muscle, by experiencing stress, feeling the discomfort, resting, and returning stronger. Perhaps you're facing something: a breakup, a layoff, a failed project. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" The first casts you as a victim, the second as a protagonist. Even Napoleon Hill, who dedicated his life to success, faced immense crises. He was once completely broke, terrified of not being able to support his family. It was then, on the brink of giving up, that he remembered his lessons from Carnegie, Ford, and Edison, and chose not to let his feelings of failure define him. He wrote one of the most impactful passages in his work during this time. Every adversity carries with it the seed of an equivalent benefit. This isn't poetry, it's a mental survival map. If life feels overwhelming, know this: it's not the end, it's the launch pad. But that only happens when you accept the challenge of interpreting your pain with awareness, courage, and purpose. Resilience isn't resisting without feeling. It's feeling everything and choosing to act wisely anyway. Start small. When something goes wrong, a delay, a conflict, a frustration, stop, breathe. Instead of reacting as usual, ask, "How can I use this to strengthen myself?" This, repeated daily, will reconfigure your emotional system. Life's blows will no longer displace you as before. It will give you an invaluable power. The power to grow even when everything around you is collapsing. Ultimately, that's what defines those who succeed. Not the best plan or connections, but the ability to rise better than they fell. Hill called failure a stepping stone. Now you know why. It's not just a catchy phrase, it's a truth he saw reflected hundreds of times in the lives of the most successful people he knew. And if there's one truth to embrace, it's this: life doesn't break you, it reveals you. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is a choice. And resilience? That's a construction that starts now, with your next reaction. Have you ever noticed how often we know exactly what we should do, but just don't? Wake up earlier, save money, study with more focus, eat healthier, stop procrastinating. These behaviors seem simple until you try to implement them and discover something invisible, almost irrational, stopping you. That something is your emotions. It's the emotional autopilot that drives your habits, silently shaping your day, sabotaging plans, and burying dreams without your awareness. Napoleon Hill was one of the first to clearly state, without emotional discipline, there is no behavioral discipline. You can have the best strategy, the most organized plan, a detailed schedule, but without understanding how your emotions are connected to your habits, you'll repeat the same cycle. Initial enthusiasm, sudden discouragement, and eventual guilt. And worse, you'll think the problem is a lack of willpower. It's not. The problem is emotional. Every action repeated daily is linked, at some level, to a feeling. Compulsive eating is often an escape from anxiety. Putting off important tasks is a way to avoid the emotional discomfort they generate. Checking social media every 5 minutes may seem like boredom, but it's usually escape. Escape from what challenges, exposes, or demands you. This is where the difference between living on impulse and living with intention emerges. Benjamin Franklin, a historical paragon of self-discipline, understood this long before science confirmed it. He developed a system of 13 virtues, meticulously tracking his progress in a journal. But the most interesting aspect is that he didn't just record actions, he observed the feelings behind each failure. Franklin grasped that true control begins when you recognize which emotion is driving you, and this awareness is liberating. Modern psychology confirms what Franklin practiced. Research published by the American Psychological Association shows that 40% of our daily behaviors are purely habitual, and most are directly related to our emotional state. You act less on logic and more on emotion than you think. That's why you need to train your emotional discipline daily, starting with something simple. Observing what you feel before you act. Before impulsively grabbing your phone, pause and ask, "What am I trying to avoid right now?" Before delaying an important task, ask, "Is this real tiredness or disguised fear?" These questions won't change the world, but they will change your level of awareness. And it's awareness that begins to break the automatic cycle of destructive habits. Start now, without changing your entire routine. Choose just one habit that keeps you from your best self. Just one. It could be sleeping too late, spending impulsively, wasting time on distractions, neglecting your health. Now look at it with fresh eyes. What emotion is behind this behavior? Is it anxiety, boredom, insecurity, loneliness? Identify it. Name it. Because when you name it, you tame it. When you ignore it, you're tamed by it. Replace that habit with a conscious action, however small. If you feel the urge to spend money to relieve stress, take a deep breath and write down the amount you would spend. Save it. Make it a ritual. If the urge to procrastinate arises, get up, take a physical step, change your environment, and do a micro-task related to what you're avoiding. It may seem small, but these tiny reactions build a new emotional structure within you. It's repetition with intention that builds a new identity. Napoleon Hill emphasized that success isn't about grand moments of glory, but the disciplined repetition of small choices. And it's even more powerful when you understand that these choices don't arise from motivation, but from emotional intelligence. True success isn't doing what's right when you're inspired, but doing what's necessary even when you're tired, frustrated, or afraid, and that's training, like a muscle. Throughout life, you'll realize that the most successful people aren't those with the best resumes or the highest IQs. but those who've learned to act consistently, even on bad days. And that only happens when emotion ceases to be the center of behavior and becomes an ally, not a dictator. Ever felt stuck, as if something inside you knows you can do more, but simply doesn't? You wake up, do what you have to do, follow the routine, but deep down you feel like you're just surviving, not living. And the strangest thing is, you even have ideas, dreams, plans, but you don't execute them. You don't advance. You don't begin. We all hit that wall, that point where self-doubt becomes the biggest hurdle, a paralyzing fear of inadequacy holding us back. It's the whisper of, "What if I fail?" The dread of judgment, the perfectionist's nightmare, a surprisingly common affliction. Research shows that self-criticism is a major roadblock, even for highly capable individuals. It's not a lack of skills, but an overload of inner judgment, a relentless internal critic that keeps us stuck. As Napoleon Hill wisely said, action is the antidote to fear. Each step, even a hesitant one, builds confidence. Self-compassion, even in its nascent stages, is the ultimate remedy for that inner critic. You'll never feel completely ready. That readiness is emotional, not technical, and it's born from taking the leap, not from endless preparation. Forget flawless. Commit to progress. That commitment starts with action, not the absence of fear, but in spite of it. That's how you break free and rewrite your story. It all starts with you, right now. True success isn't about feeling perfect. It's about what you do with your feelings. Your emotions aren't enemies, they're resources, and you're the CEO. By mastering your emotional state, you align your habits, decisions, and goals, ultimately accelerating your growth. Now that you understand how conquering your emotions reshapes your journey, let's move to the next step. The video you're about to watch will guide you on this transformative path, a journey of small daily wins that will lead you to become someone you never thought possible. Thanks for being here. See you in the next video.